Hello everyone and welcome to Tiger Tales, a place where you'll find stories and fan fictions written by me, your host, Tai Tiger. I just do want to quickly say that my fan fictions are fictions written by a fan and they don't infringe on the main continuity of the stories and copyright isn't intended. That being said, let's dive into today's story. We're going back to Pokemon The Lost Chronicles. These are Pokemon stories, but they aren't in any chronological order. There isn't a continuity of characters. It's just kind of like Pokemon episodes where they could just be anywhere doing anything and they're not really that connected. Today we dive in with a new Pokemon trainer, a girl called Lucy, a 12-year-old who absolutely loves bird Pokemon and gets given a chance to go to the bird Pokemon Sanctuary. Now, to tell the absolute truth, I have no idea if a bird Pokemon Sanctuary is a thing in Pokemon. I made that up too. That being said, let's dive in to Pokemon The Lost Chronicles. Tales of Lucy saving the bird sanctuary. Lucy walked in to the see-through dome that made the sanctuary. It was massive. All sorts of bird Pokemon filled the dome. The land was filled with different forest-like landscapes, ponds and rivers, some sand dunes. Lucy could just about see the other end of the sanctuary. Lucy was 12, with short blonde hair. She wore a brown hoodie with an awkward, funny-looking cat on it, and blue jeans. She carried a high-quality photography camera around her neck. Lucy was greeted by a tour guide. Hello there, welcome to the Bird Sanctuary, where we hold several Pokemon of most bird types, like species. We welcome all. If you have any bird Pokemon, then we encourage you to let them out and let them explore as well. Don't worry, our Pokemon have been tagged, so we know whose is who, the tour guide told her. Thanks, Lucy chirped. She held out her Pokeball and it burst open, and within a light, Starly stood next to her. Starly, you can go play if you want, I'll call you in a bit, Lucy told it. Starly chirped and then took flight. It flew off and explored the vast area. Lucy then turned to the tour guide once more. Here is a map and information sheet. If you have any questions, there's a tour guide stationed all around. Just come find one of us and ask away, the tour guide said to her, passing her the map and information sheet. Thank you so much, she replied. She then took them from the tour guide and started her exploration. She walked up to a huge tree covered in perched Fearos. They all just sat there watching the people go by. Lucy looked up at the lurking birds. She felt kind of uneasy, but found them fascinating. She took a picture of the Fearo tree. She moved on to a huge sand lot, where a group of Doduos and Dotrios were running around chasing each other. She took a picture of a Doduo who just stood there trying to catch his breath. Next was a small pond, where Lucy found a group of Swannas and Pelippas just floating there chilling in the sun. She managed to capture a pic of the pond filled with the chilled out Pokemon. Next was a big square with nests. Some nests had eggs in them, all different sizes and colours. Some of them had baby Pokemon. Lucy could see Pikapeks, Pidovs, Natus, Ducklets, and Pidgeys, all sat in their nests chirping away, waiting for their mama Pokemon to return. Lucy grinned and took a picture of the most filled and loudest nest. The next part was a rather small ring where two Harluchas were fighting each other. She pushed past the surrounding crowd to capture a picture of the two brawling Pokemon. Next was another huge tree, but this one was rather thick and Lucy couldn't see anything. The information sheet told her that she could walk under the big bushes surrounding the tree. She did exactly that, and walked through the bushes and ended up right next to the trunk. She looked up and gasped as she saw the amount of Hoot-Hoots and Noctowls hidden in the darkness of the trees. Their eyes stood out, making it seem like there were multiple pairs of eyes just staring back down at her. Lucy shuddered and decided not to take a picture as she would need the flash on her camera and she did not want to scare the nocturnal Pokemon. The next part was the vegetable garden being looked after by a group of Surfetched. Lucy was kind of confused at this but took a picture anyway. Lucy found a bench and sat down. Before she pulled out her lunchbox and started eating, her Starly came flying down and landed next to her. She then pulled a piece of bread off her sandwich and gave it to Starly, who started pecking at it. Suddenly, her phone started ringing. She pulled it out of her bag and answered it. Hello? Lucy answered. Ah, hello Lucy, Professor Kai. I'm calling to find out if you made it to the bird sanctuary okay. The older man's voice replied. Oh, hey Professor. Yeah, I'm at the bird Pokemon Sanctuary. I've just stopped and I'm having some lunch. Starly's enjoying herself, Lucy told him. Amazing, I'm so glad. Did you remember your camera? Professor Kai asked. Yeah, I got some amazing photos. I'll send them to you later, Lucy replied. Oh, please do. I shall leave you to enjoy your day, the professor said. Okay, Professor, and thanks again for getting me a ticket for this experience, Lucy chirped. You are more than welcome, Lucy. Have a good time now. Bye, Professor Kai said. Bye, Professor, Lucy replied. She then hung up and placed her phone back in her bag. Her Starly hopped onto her lap and she stroked it gently. So, what do you say? Should we continue? Lucy said, smiling at the small bird Pokemon. Chip, chip, Starly chirped with glee. Come on then, Lucy said. Her Starly again flew off and she continued exploring the Sanctuary Dome. She stopped by a pond once more and pulled out her map. She was checking the map when suddenly an explosion erupted from the east side of the dome, and the ground shook underneath Lucy's feet. All the Pokemon erupted into panic. Lucy shoved her map in her bag as her Starly flew down and landed on the fence that circled the pond. Hey, are you okay? Lucy sighed. Starly just nodded. Okay, I'll get you in your Pokeball, Lucy said, and started digging for a bag for the empty Pokeball. Chip! Starly chirped and took flight and floated above Lucy, flapping her wings. What? Lucy grunted. Starly then flew in a circle, then pointed its beak towards the explosion. You want us to help? Lucy asked with a sigh. Starly repeated the action and Lucy dropped her head. Okay, fine, Starly, we'll do that, Lucy sighed. She then shoved her camera into her bag to make sure it was safe, swung her bag over her shoulder, and then bolted towards the explosion. Her Starly flew overhead. She reached the dome wall and saw a massive hole in it, and several men were grabbing bird Pokemon and stuffing them into cages that were slotted into massive lorries. We've got to help those Pokemon, Lucy said to her Starly. Starly chirped, still floating. She noticed the men's uniform. They were all black with a big red letter R on the chest. Of course it's Team Rocket, Lucy muttered. Come on, Lucy said to Starly. She then ran up to the group of thieves. Hey, what do you think you're doing? Lucy called out. Hey, kid, get lost, one grunted. I don't think so. Starly, let's get them with a wing attack, Lucy said. Then Starly flew at one of the lorries and its right wing started glowing white. It flew past one of the cages and sliced the bars, freeing a small flock of hoot-hoots inside. Yeah, nice going, Lucy cheered. The four guys all grouped up. We didn't bring many Pokemon with us. We didn't realise we'd have trouble, one of them grunted. Shut up and stop her, one of them barked. Then all four of them threw one Pokeball each and 4 Pokemon appeared. 2 Arboks, a Coughing, and a Grimer. Luckily, Starly had some friends, Lucy called out. She then pulled out 2 Pokeballs and held them out. Miss Majors, Turtwig, let's go, Lucy called out, and both Pokeballs shot out a stream of white light which formed into the Pokemon. One grunt took 1 step forward. Arbok, use Ice Fang, he called out, and his Arbok slid towards Turtwig. 2 ice-cold blue fangs appeared in its mouth, and it lashed at the Turtwig. Turtwig jumped back, dodging the attack. Nicely done, Turtwig. Retaliate with a tackle, Lucy called out. Turtwig lunged towards Arbok and smacked into the big purple snake, making it fall back. Now use Bite, Lucy yelled. Turtwig bit into Arbok, which wriggled around in pain before dropping to the floor unconscious. Turtwig ran up to Lucy as the grunt returned Arbok back into its Pokeball. Coughing! Use Smog! Another grunt called out, and his coughing emitted a thick purple fog from its body, making it very hard to see the floating purple Pokemon. I've got an idea. Miss Majors, use Icy Winds, Lucy called out. Miss Majors blew out a cold frosty breeze which blew away the thick smog, but also dealt damage to Coughing. Quick, use Shadow Ball, Lucy commanded. Miss Majors hovered up and charged up a big black energy ball and which formed in front of it and shot the ball at Coughing. It hit Coughing dead on, knocking it out in one strike. Damn it, the grunt called out and returned Coughing into the Pokeball. The 2 other grunts stepped forward. Arbok, Poison Sting, one called out. Grimer, use Mud Shot, the other one yelled. Arbok opened its mouth and a barrage of poison needles sprayed from its mouth. All 3 of Lucy's Pokemon swerved out of their way, barely dodging the attack. Starly, wing attack. Turtwig, use tackle again. Aim at the Arbok, Lucy told them. Turtwig ran at Arbok and bit down on the snake. Then Starly flew at it with its wing glowing white once more and flew down and sliced Arbok. Turtwig, raise a leaf, Lucy called out, and Turtwig spun its head around and around. The leaf flew from its leaf stem on its head, the sharp leaves hitting Arbok. The snake wriggled to the left, then passed out. Grimer flung mud at Miss Majors, the mud hitting Miss Majors in the face. Miss Majors shook itself, shaking off the mud. Miss Majors growled. Show what you got, Miss Majors, with Hyper Beam, Lucy said. Miss May just opened its mouth and a bright colourful beam exploded from within. The beam hitting Grimer. Grimer flew back, crashing to the lorry unconscious. Yeah, nice going, guys, Lucy cheered as Team Rocket returned with their Pokemon to their Pokeballs. Let's get out of here. Forget the stupid birds, one grunt called out, and the 4 grunts all fled the dome, leaving the lorries behind with the Pokemon. Lucy walked up to the lorries and pressed the big red button, which opened some of the cages, but not all of them, releasing the bird Pokemon. Lucy then noticed that the machine had broken due to the Grimer smashing into it. Lucy watched as the bird Pokemon flew back into the sanctuary. She returned herself to her Pokemon. Lucy stood there triumphant. Suddenly one of the tour guides ran up to her with several police officers. Where did Team Rocket go? One officer said. They went through there, officers, Lucy told them, pointing at the massive hole in the dome. Alright guys, let's go, one officer said to the others, and then they all ran through the dome, out of the dome, chasing the Team Rocket grunts. Oh my god, thank you so much for defending the bird Pokemon, the tour guide said to Lucy. Hang on, I'm not done yet, Lucy told her, then she turned to her Pokemon. Alright guys, the machine's busted when you get these Pokemon out of here. Starly, use Wing Attack. Turtwig, use Razor Leaf. Attack those locks, Lucy called out. Turtwig spun its head several times, and the leaves flew out the cages, breaking some locks. Starly's wings started glowing white again, and it flew past the cages, breaking the cages open as it flew in close proximity to the lorry. All the bird Pokemon flew out the cages, all now finally free, and they all flew away, heading to the centre of the sanctuary. There you go, Lucy grinned at the tour guide. Thank you so much. We would have been lost without you, the tour guide replied. It's alright, Lucy said. Please, you can come back whenever you want, for free for the rest of time, the tour guide said with a chuckle. Suddenly a whole crowd could be seen near the entrance as news reporters started rolling in. I better go give a statement, or else my manager would kill me. Don't leave without saying goodbye, okay? The tour guide said. Okay, thanks, Lucy said as the tour guide turned to leave. She then turned to her Pokemon. She knelt down and stroked Turtwig. Good job, you guys, she muttered. She then heard her phone going off. She pulled it out of her bag and answered it. Hey, Professor K, she answered. It's Professor Kai. Why do you keep nicknaming me? Lucy, are you okay? I've seen the news. I'm assuming the trainer with the weird brown jumper with the cat on it, who also has a Turtwig, is you, Professor Kai responded. Maybe, yeah, she said awkwardly. In the professor's laboratory, he stood there on the phone to Lucy, staring at a massive glass chamber filled with water. Floating in the water was an unconscious Suicune. Well, Lucy, I'm just glad you're okay. I'll call you in a few days, okay? He said. Okay, Professor. Talk to you soon, Lucy responded, then she hung up. He walked up to the glass chamber and placed his hand on it. Soon, my pet, I will find you a trainer worthy of your power, he muttered. Then suddenly a portal opened and a young man with short blonde hair, wearing glasses and a big black cloak, walked out. Why are you here, William Cranston? Professor Kai asked. Just making sure everyone is doing their job properly, the man known as William Cranston replied. Who died and named you, boss? Professor Kai asked smugly. I'm just making sure, that's all. We all have a job to do, William barked back. Hey, I get that, William. I'm doing what I can, Professor Kai replied. You're getting too close to your chosen heroes, William blurted. I am playing the gentle approach, Professor Kai explained. Please, you sound like Mr. Pocket, William snapped back. No, Pocket is a criminal who just has a lust for chaos, Professor Kai said. William walked up to Professor Kai. Just be careful, the boss can turn up whenever he wants, and we don't want his mission going wrong. Now do we? William hissed. He then turned around and walked through his portal, enclosing it as he left. What's up with that guy? Professor Kai muttered. He then turned around back to Suicune. Guess I better start looking, huh? He said to the sleeping Pokemon. And there you have it, guys, another Pokemon story for you. Again, these are very one-off episodic chapters, not really any continuity to them, and it gives me a chance to write a bit differently to the rest of the stories I have going on. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be stories that have multiple parts to them, it's just a bit easier for me. So Lucy was actually based off my sister. I have a 17-year-old sister as of now, and She'll be 18 next year, and I based Lucy off of her. And the team that Lucy has is actually handpicked by my sister herself. So I thought I'd give you that bit of notion too. So thank you guys for checking this video out. Don't forget to check out the Zero Hero podcast. I am partnered with them. They're Billy and Jim, a Balkan Scholar podcast team. They talk about lots of different things: Power Rangers, Gundam, movies, and all sorts. They're two absolute nutcases, and you should go check them out on everywhere you can listen to your podcast, and now including YouTube. Make sure you go check out the Red Corner Stranger at Nerds Through Comics, everywhere that you can listen on podcasts as well. And he's adapting comic books into audio dramas, and I am actually one of his voice actors, so you'll hear me somewhere down the line. And then go check out Cosplay Dude 637's 2 podcasts where you can listen to all sorts of different fanfiction stories like myself. On Storytime with Cosplay Dude 637, you have stories like Shadowhunters, Sword Art Online, X-Men, and his original story called The Order. Then there's Power Rangers Universe 19, which has Power Rangers Cyberforce, the Ultra Rangers, Power Rangers Skyforce, and 2 Kamen Rider stories. And I'll actually be working with Willie, or Cosplay Dude. I'll be working with him next year on some of the Power Rangers Universe 19 stuff. So yeah, make sure you go check out everyone that I just mentioned. Subscribe here as well if you don't miss another storyline. Lucy will return for sure, and she has more Pokemon to show. And yeah, with that, make sure you comment down below which other Pokemon you want to see in these stories, and I shall see you guys very soon.